You've probably been told your whole life that anything that looks like a wasp is a reason to grab a broom. That any nest near your door is a threat. That the first rule of household survival is, see something built from caked mud stuck to the wall, knock it down before it gets worse. How many times have you done that? How many times have you or your dad or your neighbour knocked down a little dried mud tube hanging off the doorframe without ever asking what was actually living inside? What you're about to find out is going to change the way you look at your own front door. Because that mud nest, that lump of hardened dirt-looking stuff, isn't a sign of invasion. It's a sign that something quiet has been working for you. And when you destroy it, you're not protecting yourself. You're kicking out your own private security guard. Today, you're going to find out who actually lives in there, what it gets up to when you're not watching, and why scientists rate this little builder as one of the most underrated insects on the planet. Here's the first shock. In the vast majority of cases, that mud nest doesn't belong to a social wasp, the kind that swarms and attacks when disturbed. It belongs to a solitary wasp, commonly known as a mud dauber or potter wasp. And that's the first myth you need to drop right now. Solitary wasp does not mean dangerous wasp. It means the opposite. Unlike wasps that live in colonies and defend the nest as a group, swarming when threatened, the mud dauber lives alone. She has no queen to protect, no colony willing to die for territory. She has only herself, and her one goal is to finish building before the weather, or you, wrecks the job. Here's the second shock, and this is the one that really matters. This wasp barely ever stings humans. The stinger exists, but she uses it for one very specific purpose, and it's not defending herself against you, it's hunting. And this is where the whole story flips. Because what she hunts and how she hunts it is exactly why she set herself up as a sentry right above your door. The mud dauber is a specialist spider hunter, not small, harmless spiders. Many species of these wasps go after spiders that are bigger, stronger, and far more venomous than they are. Some of the documented prey includes spiders from the genus Latrodectus, redbacks, right here in Australia, and their overseas cousins, black widows. Stop and think about that for a second. An insect a few centimeters long, working completely alone, no army, no colony, takes on and neutralizes one of the most feared spiders in the country. And she does this over and over right next to your house. To understand how big a feat this actually is, you need to understand how the hunt unfolds, because this isn't just any attack, it's a surgical operation. The female mud dauber flies out searching for hidden webs tucked into cracks, wall corners, gaps under eaves and roof tiles, exactly the spots where dangerous spiders like to hide. She locates the spider, often bigger than she is, and instead of backing off, she moves in. The spider's venom can cause intense pain, muscle spasms, and in rare cases, serious complications in humans. But the wasp isn't unarmed. She carries her own stinger and her own venom, shaped by millions of years of evolution, for one very specific job. Not to kill the spider, but to paralyze it. In a sequence of fast, precise movements, the wasp immobilizes the spider with a surgical strike to the nervous system. The spider doesn't die. It drops into a state of total paralysis, alive, but completely unable to move or fight back. This is when the real engineering kicks in. The wasp drags the paralyzed spider, often heavier than she is, back to the nest she's building. She flies back and forth, gathering tiny balls of damp mud one at a time, laying them down in fine layers, shaping with her own mandibles a near-architectural tube with separate internal chambers. Inside each chamber, she places the paralyzed spider, still alive, as fresh food storage. Then she lays a single egg on the spider's body and seals the chamber with another layer of mud, She repeats this, chamber after chamber, building what's essentially a perfectly organized biological pantry. When the larva hatches inside that dark little chamber, it already has everything it needs right beside it. The spider its mother caught weeks earlier, kept fresh through paralysis, no decay, no rot. Call it whatever you like, but it's hard to look at this and not see seriously impressive logistics. The mud dauber isn't just a hunter. She's an architect, a strategist, and without even meaning to, a bodyguard working right outside your front door, taking down one of the most feared threats in Aussie backyards, solo, quiet, again and again, all season long. Now think about what happens when you decide to put a stop to all that. You spot the mud nest, feel uneasy, maybe worried about getting stung, and knock it down with the broom or the hose. In seconds, weeks of hunting work are wiped out. The chamber's full of paralyzed spiders, the eggs, the developing larvae, all of it gone, smashed on the ground along with the mud. And what's left behind is the gap she was filling. Without these wasps acting as natural pest control, the spider populations she was targeting, including venomous species, are no longer being quietly kept in check by this specialist predator. That means more spiders tucked into veranda corners, more webs in door gaps, and a real increase in the chances of an accidental run-in with a dangerous spider inside your own home. There's also a flow-on effect most people don't know about. Mud daubers, by actively hunting prey, act as one of the most effective natural controls against spider populations around homes. Ecologically, removing a specialist predator from a contained environment, like the immediate area around a house, tends to throw off the predator-prey balance in that little ecosystem. And the species that benefits most is exactly the one she was keeping under control. In other words, you knock the nest down thinking you're making things safer, and in practice, you're clearing the path for the very danger you were trying to avoid. So let's recap what you've found out today. That dried mud tube above your door isn't grime, isn't a pest nest, isn't an aggressive colony waiting to attack. It's the solo work of a mud dauber wasp, a specialist hunter capable of taking down spiders far more dangerous than herself, redbacks included, using strategy, precision, and a surgical venom that paralyzes rather than kills. She built that, chamber by chamber, as a biological pantry for her young. And in doing it, she quietly removed a fair number of dangerous spiders from your home that you probably never even knew were there. She didn't ask for anything in return, made no noise about it, demanded no credit. She just got on with the job, generation after generation, like a security system that installs itself for free right at your front door. Next time you spot one of these mud nests, maybe your first reaction won't be fear, but a simple question. How many dangerous spiders has this little builder already taken out of my way without me ever knowing? If this changed the way you see this quiet little guardian, smash that like button so more people learn the truth before they wreck their own private security guard. And if you want to keep uncovering the biological mysteries hiding in your own backyard, subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more weird and amazing stuff living closer to you than you think.